Hey everyone. Now, I will say usually me and Cathie Wood, our investment strategies are not similar, and I rarely have agreements with Cathie Wood in her projections and her valuation estimates of some of the stocks that she owns. But lately, there's been more and more stocks that me and Cathie Wood agree on, and that's been surprising me. And it has a lot to do with the sell off of some of these stocks. The stock I'm going to talk about today is down 74% off its high. And so this decrease in share price has brought it to my range where I look at stocks at reasonable valuations and not just looking at their innovative prospects. So this video, I'm going to highlight one Cathie Wood stock that's down 74% off its high that I think is a buy heading into 2024. So let's take a look at what that stock is.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So the stock I am talking about is a top 10 holding for Cathie Wood, and that is Square. Square is the stock that I'm talking about that's down significantly off its high that I think is a buy for 2024. Now, the rest of the video, I'm going to talk about and elaborate on why I think it's a buy by looking at the financial metrics and performance of Square. So let's get into that part. So in its most recent quarter, Square's gross profit increased by 21% to 1.9 billion. The company has been growing robustly for several quarters now. And remember, gross profit is the more informative metric to look at for Square instead of revenue because of the way Square accounts for purchases and sales of Bitcoin. When people buy and sell Bitcoin, the way the accounting works for that, it's more informative to consider gross profit. And so that's why I've highlighted the gross profit here for Square. Now, Square has two segments, right? The Square legacy part of its business that helps small businesses, and then the Cash App. And Cash App is where the faster growth is. 27% growth in the Cash App to 984 million in gross profit in the most recent quarter. And look at the growth rates over the last four quarters: 27, 37, 49, 64, and 51% growth. Now the Square segment, that's not too shabby either at 29, 22, 16, 18, and 15. But you could see the Cash App is growing nearly twice as fast as the other segment. And this is where the growth is going to come from. The faster growth is going to come from with Square. So you can see excellent growth here from Square, and the growth prospects are one reason why I like Square heading into 2024. Longer term, the company has done a good job increasing its gross profit over a trailing 12-month period from around 200 million in 2016 all the way up to 7 billion in the most recent trailing 12-month period. And so you can see these growth prospects are increasing nicely. Let me shrink myself so you can see that number here, 7.139 billion over the trailing 12-month period. Look at that phenomenal growth trajectory from Square, and it's looking good. The thing I like about this growth is that it's helping the company improve profitability to a degree, especially in the last several quarters, increasing from close to negative 4% up to negative 1.32%. So Square is using the revenue to increase operating profitability over the last year. I would have liked to have seen this continue from 2019 all the way upward. This decline here as economies reopened, as of course, remember, Square and the Cash App generates significant amount of customer interest for its service where you can buy and sell Bitcoin. And of course, the absolute frenzy was at the peak around 2021 for Bitcoin, and that leveled off. And now in 2023, the popularity of Bitcoin is increasing again. Bitcoin value is increasing, as are some other cryptocurrencies, and so that's been helping Cash App, and that's been helping Square. And if it continues, it'll continue driving gross profit for Block longer term. Consensus estimate for Square going forward is for 2024 fiscal year revenue to increase by 12.5%, and for earnings per share to grow at 58%. For 2025, again, revenue growth of 12.5% with earnings per share of 32%. The company is expected to grow nicely on the top and bottom line. Investors are expecting robust growth here from Square, and that's partly, I think, what has attracted Cathie Wood to Square, and it's attracted me as well because the combination of these growth prospects and the valuation, which I will share in a little bit here. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But it's not just the growth that I look at. I know Cathie Wood is very focused on growth and prospects longer term, but I look at growth and I look at it in conjunction with valuation. I don't like paying too much of a price for growth, right? But if growth is reasonably priced, then that makes it all the more attractive for my investment style. Additionally, I like how Block has used its growth in revenue and gross profit to convert into cash flow from operations at 4.54% in the most recent trailing 12-month figure. I would like to see this figure go higher. It has been moving higher since bottoming out in 2021, and I would like to see this continue. And the estimates suggest that profitability and cash flow is likely to increase significantly, like I just showed you in the previous slide with the consensus estimates going forward. Block also has a solid balance sheet. I've seen better, but it's not terrible. $9.18 billion in cash and short-term investments and $5 billion in total long-term debt. Roughly 2-to-1 ratio here between cash and short-term investments and long-term debt. Not an absolutely pristine balance sheet, but not a risky balance sheet either, with plenty of cash to pay down. If it wanted to, it could pay off all of its long-term debt and still have over $4 billion left over in cash. So nothing to complain about in Block's balance sheet. And finally, valuation is attractive. Block is trading at a forward price to earnings of 24.99. That is a fair valuation for a company with the growth prospects that Block has, right? If it wasn't expected to grow as robustly, I would say maybe this might be too expensive, but it's definitely not too expensive if you're going to achieve the kind of growth that Block has already demonstrated, but also the consensus estimate for 58% earnings per share growth in 2024 and then 32% earnings per share growth in 2025. That's phenomenal for a company trading at a forward price to earnings of just 25. So for those reasons, I think Block is one stock that Cathie Wood owns that I also agree is a buy going into 2024. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.